I didn't notice you came back, fucker. I was just sitting here watching Deck Pods all content, and you spooked me with the Craig. Why?
I got you with the Craig. I got you with the Craig. All right. Face front, true believers. This is Modular Media's No Prize podcast, where we talk Marvel movies, comics, merchandise, and more. I'm your host, Chris Boingo Writer Gaston, and with me, as always, in this endeavor is
the distinguished vacuuminator. Good evening, everyone.
We're refining this intro down. This is like the first time I feel like it went off like perfect, 100%.
Yeah, aside from you scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah, well, I do that all the time. I'm a frightening person.
Yeah, you're gonna have to keep that in now, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Well done.
They look at me and they do not know what they're missing.
Yeah.
That was a quote from the movie, or my best attempt at one. Because we are in MCU lull territory in between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. We decided to dive into a bunch of variety of side material that Marvel has put out in adaptation land. And this week, we are looking at one of the early success stories of live-action Marvel movies, X2.
Yeah. I was the person who proposed this because it's one of my favorite movies from back when I was a kid. Because long story short, the Fox X-Men movies were a big thing for me and my dad. We watched those quite regularly when I was growing up, and whenever a new one would come out, we'd make plans like mothers to be there day one at the theater. And this was always one of my favorites. It's widely considered to be the best, unless you're going for the newer ones. So I figured it would be fun to go back and take another look at it because I haven't watched it in quite a while.
So, with that in mind, with your current infatuation with X-Men in the comics, and your recent exposure to classic-style X-Men with the 90s animated series, how do you feel this holds up as an adaptation, as a movie, and as a version of the X-Men? Like, you can separate that into three different versions of the question.
As an adaptation, I definitely think this is the best this time period could muster. As a version of the X-Men, it's definitely really solid, but it's not in that like upper echelon. And what was the third thing?
Just as a movie.
As a movie, this is great. This is a really solid action family film for the time. And that's the big thing with me in this movie on this rewatch is like, wow, does this slap of early 2000s way more than I remember it doing. Like I was I listened to a couple years ago. My last rewatch before this one was with a fan audio commentary that I had found on YouTube. And I remember one of my big takeaways from that was agreeing with the hosts of that when they said that the only real super 2000s thing about this is the Backstreet Boys thing. Otherwise, it's kind of a timeless movie. Yeah, I don't agree with that anymore.
No, the fashion is very early 2000s. Even the adaptation style is very early 2000s because...
Well, even just the look of some of the actors. I mean, and this is not to dunk on anyone in the cast. They're all great at what they're doing here. But, like, these are all people who would not get cast in this kind of movie now. Like, we would not have Halle Berry as Storm or what's-her-face as Jean Grey these days. And we wouldn't have James Masters as Cyclops. Like,
it's a good
that's
Cyclops,
just not...
We can just...
Yeah, he's good.
Look,
it's not the look they would go for.
I'm not saying any of these people are going to be bad, but I do agree with you.
It's just not the look that, like, say, Disney and Kevin Feige would want to go for.
No, because realistically, this was very kind of, for lack of a better way of describing it, stunt casted.
Mm-hmm.
It was very heavily loaded with, like, some big names that kind of get you in. Halle Berry's a bigger name. It was trying to make sure, all right, we know this idea is somewhat silly, but come watch our movie, which the sequel also reeks heavy of.
I remember hearing hearing stories of, because I wasn't exactly conscious of this whole thing back then because I was a babby, but casting Hugh Jackman was a big deal back then because he was an unknown.
Yeah. And even then, there is the current more, I wouldn't say controversy, but it's more of a nitpick of like, Hugh Jackman's too tall.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a huge negative or even like a big criticism. It's just more of like a man. Wouldn't have been cool to have short King Wolverine.
And can we just agree? Because like I'm looking at him right now. I got the movie playing on the other monitor as usual. That like he looks weird in this movie compared to how he looks now. Like he looks like a completely different person.
Yeah, no, his face rounded out as he grew older, which made it just look more. It has a different kind of proportion. He still looks like Hugh Jackman though.
And like this was back when they were still styling his hair like crazy to make it look like the mask because they were too afraid to do the mask. Which they kept.
Um,
They were too afraid to do it for all the other movies, but they stopped styling his hair so much after a little while.
no, but they did keep the Wolverine kind of
Yeah.
because that's just part of Wolverine. Um, no, this movie does have a lot of like, oh, we're the X-Men, but like we're not the weird, we're not in. It's the it's
We're
a
not
it's
the goofy kids cartoon you remember from 10 years ago.
yeah, but in the same vein, that's what the X-Men are.
Yeah. The X-Men are big dumb bullshit.
Like it it's also like the idea it's a similar vibe of the MCU had the bad habit of this at the beginning too of the call signs and the superhero names being kind of embarrassing for the person.
Yeah. Or like in the first movie, there's that line about like, oh, the costumes are a little weird. What would you prefer? Yellow spandex? And
Yeah,
then they
like
do yellow spandex in the prequel.
yeah, there's lines like that, but there's also like there was a line in here where Kurt's on the plane and Wolverine looks at him goes, "Who's the blue guy?" And and Kurt immediately perfect Nightcrawler. Like he is a great Nightcrawler. He just goes, "I am Kurt Wagner, but at the Munich circus I was known as the mysterious night." And Wolverine just cuts him off going like, whatever, I don't care." And it's just like, "Come on, he's Nightcrawler."
Yeah.
It's the kind of embarrassed of like they never call him Nightcrawler. He's Kurt, you know. But like he is one of the best parts of this movie.
It's also just weird how like so many of the relationships are slightly altered and the character dynamics.
Mhm.
Like the whole Rogue and Iceman thing is fucking hilarious now looking back on it. And it
Oh
probably was
yeah,
to some people at the time, but for me being introduced to X-Men through these movies, like now reading the comics and like being super into Rogue and Gambit as a wholesome married couple, and then Iceman as just like this casually gay badass. I'm like, well, this is complete ludonarrative dissonance. I
right.
like them both.
That's another thing. You've been reading Marauders, which has
Yeah.
two major characters in that comic are in this movie, and they are completely different.
That's the thing is I always forget that I guess in this context it would be Kitty Pryde is in this movie as a fucking cameo.
Yeah, and Colossus too.
Colossus,
They
fucking
did keep a good cool thing about Colossus because in the comics he is an artist and he did that cute little doodle.
hmm and oh god, what's her name? Jubilee is one of the people in the cage, one of the
Yeah,
kids in the cage at the end of the movie, and fucking Hank McCoy makes a 2-second cameo at one point on the news. And it's a completely different actor than Kelsey Grammer. I went and IMDb'd him. He's been on like a bunch of shows nobody's heard of.
yeah. That's another big thing that I think the X-Men movies just really that it wasn't until the MCU that people realized, oh, this is how you do a superhero franchise
Yeah, we
because it
can
seems like
mine these characters. We can flesh each and every one of these characters out with different movies and projects and stuff. This was, oh God, there's so many characters. Let's focus on these ones, and everybody else can be fan service.
also not just that, but getting people locked in on a contract.
Mhm.
You're in for 5 movies
Yeah,
because this I think these movies was very much you sign on for each individual movie.
probably.
Because there's a reason why Kurt Wagner wasn't in X3.
Yeah, and I always forget about that too. Like that movie's got so much other shit going on that I always forget. Oh yeah, Nightcrawler never showed up.
Because like in this, at the end, it's Nightcrawler's part of the X-Men. He's going like, "Hey, I'm trying to do good. I didn't want to kill you. I was under mind control. Hey, what's up? I'm Nightcrawler."
hmm
But no, this is a very like basic X-Men kind of plot.
Yeah,
You
it's
wanna describe some of the basic plot beats before we go too deep into because we've just been talking about aesthetics of the
yeah.
movie.
let's why don't we break it down? Oh wait, this isn't MMWP. So the movie opens with one of the most well-remembered fight scenes of this entire franchise, where Nightcrawler goes into the White House, kicks the shit out of the Secret Service, and basically acts like he's going to kill the president. Leaves a knife next to his head with a little note attached that says "Mutant Freedom Now." And this is going off of the fact that there was an anti-mutant bill as one of the central plot points of the first movie. And
The Mutant Registration Act.
yeah. And we then pick up with the X-Men all kind of like getting back together and regrouping just after hearing about this. And Logan comes back to the X Mansion, basically says to Professor X, hey, I didn't find shit at the place where you guys said I could find out about my past. What are we gonna do about this? And Professor X is kind of like, I got other shit going on right now, but we'll put that on the back burner. Don't worry, we're definitely gonna get to it.
By the way, can you babysit?
Yeah, can you babysit? By the way, this kid is fucking your adopted daughter. Bye, or at least he wants to fuck your adopted daughter because nobody can fuck your adopted daughter.
Yeah.
And then we find out we are introduced to Commander William Stryker, who is one of my favorite characters in the entire franchise because of how he keeps coming back in these movies, and he's always at least fun in these movies. And this
He's
is
the perfect human villain for an X. Like he is like atypical human villain for X-Men stuff.
Definitely. But he's basically like, hey, Mr. President, sorry about what happened to you. But you know, I used to run this thing called X-Force, and we got all these things going on, and you know, I could really use some more funding. Also, check out this school that has a jet underneath the basketball court. That there's also like a known mutant activist running it. Huh, that's strange, isn't it? Should we go in there and take care of that? And he's like, yeah, sounds cool. Don't kill anybody though. And he's like, I'll definitely do that, Agatha meme. And then
You're forgetting the other senator that was there too.
yeah, Senator Kelly shows up for a minute, and we are reminded of the fact that Senator Kelly is now basically a part that Mystique is playing, waiting for a moment where she can break Eric Lencher out of prison. And so that whole thing is set up, and the rest of the plot of the movie is basically Stryker attacks the X school while all the X-Men are split up, and Wolverine is the only one that's really there. And the whole plot of the rest of the movie is everyone trying to regroup, figure out what is going on, and then once they all figure out, oh, Stryker attacked the X-Mansion, Nightcrawler says he didn't do it because Jean and Storm go to find Nightcrawler, and now Professor X and Cyclops are missing because they are attacked when they go to try and talk to Eric Lencher in prison. It's probably Stryker. We should probably go check out what Stryker's doing at this place called Alkali Lake, which is also where Wolverine just was. Also happens to be linked to his past. Oh shit, Stryker made Wolverine, and he made another Wolverine who's a lady, and they got to fight. And big old fights and stuff, and we free some mutants, and we defeat Stryker, and we all get back, except for Jean, who dies, and then they tease the next movie, and that's not great.
No. Honestly, though, for a modification to the Phoenix Saga, that totally makes sense, because we saw how the original Phoenix Saga went down in space.
Mm-hmm.
And her sacrificing herself to save the jet totally is kind of like a more grounded version of the beginning of the Phoenix Saga. It makes sense.
Yeah. It just it sucks that the next movie, the way they follow that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing is you watch that and you're like, oh, that was supposed to be really exciting in the moment, and I bet it was.
Yeah.
But this was kind of the beginning of going out of this movie was kind of the beginning of just Fox going, yeah, we don't really have a continuity. We're just making movies.
Yeah. Also, it's the next movie where they start going weird with how they adapt the characters.
Yeah, and how they handle things. Because for the most part, everything's pretty solid here. There's some slight changes here and there, like we were talking about Rogue and Iceman, but everyone else is is pretty 1-to-1, and like that relationship is the only real change, because I don't think those two ever had a relationship in the comics. They just happen to be the only characters of the right age to pair up that way.
Yeah, and when you introduce Gambit, you have so much baggage with Gambit that you have to do that he has to have his own movie first.
Yeah.
Because with Gambit, you also have the Thieves Guild and all the magic of New Orleans and like all that
You
bullshit.
just to jump into that, because this might be our only chance to talk Fox X-Men, so I'm going to jump around as much as I can. Would you have ever remotely been interested in seeing that Channing Tatum Gambit movie that was announced at one point?
Honestly, no.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum is not a Gambit.
No.
No, Channing
Like,
Tatum's a
the guy they
Cyclops.
got for Origins is more of a Gambit than he is.
Gambit is a sleek swimmer body. He is acrobatic. He is not buff cake.
Yeah.
He also needs to look like devilishly charming. Not like traditional handsome. He needs to be like, oh, there's something weird about you.
Yeah, but we don't have a lot of leading men like that anymore. Is the problem.
Yeah, hire character actor.
Exactly. But try convincing Fox to do that at the time.
Yeah. I mean, MCU does that perfectly. It's like, we want an actor who can play the character. We don't give a shit.
That's what's so fucking exciting about the acquisition, honestly, is we might get like pitch perfect casting for everyone now.
The only thing I can there's some things I also go like, oh, that'd be fun to see. Like Letterkenny as Wolverine. That was a pitch around for a bit.
Of
course,
you know who I want as Wolverine now.
I'm trying to remember who.
Buck.
Goddamn Buck. I mean, other than the accent, he's a perfect goddamn Wolverine.
But like, you can learn accents. They got plenty of dialogue coaches out there in Hollywood.
And we do have our Puck. Though it'd probably be more beneficial to actually hire an actor with dwarfism for Puck.
True. But like, could you imagine just so many wrestlers out of AEW and WWE uniting to be casted as the fucking X-Men?
X-Men.
Who out of any currently active wrestler would you make Cyclops?
Out of wrestlers? There's nobody that fits Cyclops because he needs to be built like Captain America.
The troll in me wants to say Cody Rhodes.
But punished Cyclops, he could play a good punished Cyclops.
Yeah, if we're honest, Cody is Shatterstar before he's anyone else. That's still the best joke in Deadpool 2, just having Shatterstar show up in full comic book bullshit and then be like, yeah, no.
Yeah. He came back. I think Shatterstar just showed up in X Factor.
Good for him.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's any wrestler, but like, no, Cyclops needs to be built like Captain America because he's a similar kind of vibe.
He needs to be built like Captain America, but not have the all-American boy looks. He needs to have stuff in a little more chiseled, a little more sharp, a little more a face you look at and go like, oh, this guy's gonna find a problem with me if I don't completely behave myself.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what Cyclops is. He is so on the book, so trying to make everything right that it feels like he has a stick up his ass. He's just fucking OCD. He is controlling.
Cyclops is the mutant with an ass so hard, if you shove an apple up there, you'll get applesauce back out.
Yeah. It's just because he's nervous. It's because of like all the pressure that he feels like he's under because he's trying to live up to the ideals of Professor Xavier and trying to lead this team of people who will not get along and just do what he says.
And weirdly, talking about that, like, as much as I like James Marsters, and I think he's got a good look for the role, he doesn't get a lot to do as that kind of Cyclops in these movies.
No, when he's in these movies, he's the perpetual moaner Cyclops, which is always the more boring part of Cyclops.
Like, it can be fun, like the scene where Wolverine gets back and he throws him the keys and he goes, your bike needs gas, and he goes, then fill it up. That's cute. I like that.
I also like that because like it's Wolverine being a cheeky little bastard, but it's also like a little bit of like Cyclops, even though him and Wolverine butt heads, Cyclops still trusts him.
Yeah. But the only real like OCD Scott moment we get is when he like at first refuses to hand Professor X's wheelchair over to the guard at Magneto's prison.
Yeah, like, this is not in the plan. What are you doing?
Which turns out he was right to do.
Yep. But like, just continuing to talk about the current comics, because that's like, it is a pitch perfect Cyclops in my opinion. Is the best Cyclops
that's just the
going.
fallback zone for this podcast, isn't it? Current X-Men.
So good. But like, you saw what I'm talking about with Hawks and Pox of like, does it need to be doing? Then it'll be done. That's Cyclops to me. It's that kind of like steadfast, will do what it takes kind of character. And Cyclops also gets like punked out like a bitch in this movie.
Yeah, he gets taken out in kind of 2 seconds, and then he's mind controlled at one point, and then he doesn't get a whole lot to do during the third act other than like carry Jean around.
Yeah, because these movies want to focus on Wolverine,
and like this was back before like these movies started right before the comics really figured out Cyclops as a character, because for so long, Cyclops was completely defined as stick in the mud rules man. And then in the early to mid 2000s, when we got New X-Men and Astonishing X-Men, a couple of genius writers went, "Hey, shouldn't Cyclops be the coolest fucking guy ever if he's the leader of the team? Let's make him the coolest fucking guy ever." And that's how you get to the kind of Cyclops interpretation people like you and me have now.
Yeah, and that's ultimately where I think Cyclops should be with the MCU. It's just like Captain America, but anxiety.
Yeah.
But Wolverine is also just a dope version of the character. He is pretty Wolverine.
Yeah. The only thing he has is he doesn't really have his kind of growly animal voice, which is fine because it might sound a little silly coming out of Hugh Jackman.
But he did say Bob every once in a while.
Yeah, but I don't really think of that like, he doesn't have the down here kind of
come on, Slick.
Yeah.
What you think you got? I got knives for hands. I'm the best at what I do. What I do ain't very good.
But no, we were talking about earlier, these movies are very focused on Wolverine. There's a lot of great Wolverine scenes in these movies. Like, one of my favorite scenes in this entire fucking franchise is just the scene right before the Stryker attacks, where Wolverine gets up in the middle of the night and goes down to the kitchen and like has a drink with Iceman and is like, "So, you want to fuck my adopted daughter?" "Yep." "All right." Like, that's just great character interaction right there that sets up their relationship for the entire rest of the movie.
Because it's also not like I am a parental figure, big dick swinging. What you think you're going to do with my adopted daughter? It is very much like, okay, you're kids and you're trying to figure things out. Are you trying to be safe? Which in a regular context is, are you wrapping it? But in this is like, are you dealing with the powers?
Well, I've been looking into this interesting genre called latex on Pornhub. You knew I was gonna go there at some point, because that's the thing with Rogue. That's always my thing with Rogue is like, yeah, it's probably terrible on a day-to-day basis, but I don't see how it ruins the bedroom when latex sex exists.
Also, the fact that at this point in time, like, even at this point in time in the comics, 2003, inhibitor collars were existing in device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have you read Mr. and Mrs. X?
No, I probably need to go back and read it because I do really enjoy Rogue and Gambit.
I read the first couple arcs, and literally the first issue of that, there's a moment where Rogue's like, "I want to fuck on my honeymoon. I'm gonna go and put on this old inhibitor collar." And everybody's like, "Okay, that's understandable." And then she starts complaining about how clunky and uncomfortable it is, and they're like, "I don't think people had in mind that you would want to wear it as a cute necklace, Rogue."
I mean, it's fair. It's a reasonable thing for, like, in the same way that, like, Nightcrawler in certain adaptations wants a visual inhibitor. It makes total sense to go like, oh, your powers are uncontrollable. Yeah, here's a device to help you control it. In a similar way of like, oh, people with ADHD don't have enough dopamine in their head. Here, take this stimulant. It'll give you more dopamine. Sweet. It's a disability to an extent, and she needs tools and devices to help her out with it. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. But we've been talking about characters and like interpretations in this universe. And I think that's just gonna be the dominant thing with this conversation, because this is kind of a ubiquitous movie.
Yeah, and ultimately the plot is solid. It's a good
Yeah.
little espionage tale. There's some neat twists and turns, but like realistically, it's pretty paint by the numbers.
It's an excuse to showcase these characters to a mainstream audience and do some cool action set pieces with them.
And like also just cool like set pieces in general, like not even just action, like the cathedral scene was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm actually watching that right now, and that's really great. Really shows up really good introduction to Nightcrawler as a character. And another one I really like is fucking Magneto breaking out of prison. I remember that flooring me the first time I saw it as a kid. Like that was on par. That was like taking the scene where Magneto takes all the guns and turns them on the cops in the first movie and just pumping it up to 11 for me as a kid.
Yeah. And this is also prime righteous villain Magneto.
Yeah.
Because there's like several forms of Magneto. There is like the righteous villain, there's the outright villain, there's the contemporary heroic Magneto that we have in the comics right now. The ones that it's very pragmatic and
I fight for mutant freedom so you don't have to.
yeah. Dope Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Good Magneto. I really enjoy that Magneto. But this Ian McClellan is fucking banger as Magneto.
Yeah, he's so good at just like how intimidating and how in control he wants you to feel he is in every moment, even when he's about to get mind control shit put on him. And like again, I love just the little scenes all throughout this movie. Like the callback to the first movie when Mystique and Magneto are in the jet just chuckling to themselves, and Rogue's like, fucking, what are you laughing about? Nothing. We just love what you've done with your hair. And they keep laughing like a bunch of fucking schoolgirls. It's the best.
The scene right after that where he starts to indoctrinate Pyro into his beliefs. It's just like, oh.
Mm-hmm. Because and you don't feel bad for Pyro because it's like, well, he was already headed down that path, but that is pitch perfect Magneto.
Yeah, because it's pitch perfect villainous Magneto, because if throughout the beginning of the movie you can kind of tell there's a thing bugging him, is like, oh, I'm around Iceman who can just make ice. I have to have this lighter, and he's fiddling with it the whole time, just like, I never want to let this go because this is my power. He's insecure about it.
Yeah.
And then Magneto takes the lighter away from him and he goes like, I can't make fire, I can just control it. And the line Magneto says is, so you were a god amongst insects. Basically saying, like, that's more than any of them can do. You're still fucking dope. Which, if you're worried about that kind of shit, it's fucking revelatory to you.
Oh man, I can't be funny on camera. I'm just really good at saying what goes into this TV show or whatever. So you're still smarter than a lot of the other fans. You're still good at making videos, just not in the way you want to be. And the way you want to be, you can learn to be good at.
Yeah, it's that kind of hopeful. It's that kind of poisoned hope that Magneto gives. You know, there's also like little bits and things that just like seeps into other characters that he interacts with, like Mystique saying, like, Nightcrawler going like, you can look like anybody. Why do you look like this? Because I shouldn't have to look like anything else. And it's just like, that's a very like, that's the brotherhood mentality. It's just like.
Also, I'm watching the late night kitchen scene I was talking about earlier, and I somehow have never noticed before. There's a fucking restaurant level milkshake mixer right next to their fridge.
Yeah,
like, that's such a Xavier school thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Like, also, Siren's in this movie.
Siren?
The daughter of Banshee.
Oh shit, that's right.
Because she had red hair.
And you know what? That actually does kind of make sense with the prequel. Because remember, Banshee in this universe is in the first class of mutants.
Yeah.
So it makes sense he'd have a kid and maybe not be involved with the school anymore, but would go, oh shit, you're a mutant? Cool. Here's where you can go and you'll be loved and accepted, and I won't have to protect you 24/7.
Yeah, but like because the first time I ever watched this, I didn't know jack shit about comics. So as a kid, I was just like, oh, cool, she has screamy powers. But now having read comics and read X-Men and all that kind of stuff, it's like, she has red hair, wearing green, and she has screaming powers. She's goddamn Siren.
Yeah.
Uh, but let's see. We talked a little bit about Nightcrawler. How do you feel about the changes they made to Nightcrawler?
Well, that's the thing is like I don't know a whole lot about comic book Nightcrawler. I've not been exposed to a lot of his classic stories, and I'm kind of like just getting into him now with the Hickman run.
Yeah.
So like this is kind of how I know Nightcrawler is this movie, and then later his appearance in Apocalypse. Like something I always love to pull on comic book X-Men fans to freak them out is I didn't even really get how devoutly religious Nightcrawler was until I was in my late teens, and I went back and I had heard about God Loves Man Kills, and I went back and rewatched this movie, and I was like, oh yeah, that is there. Okay.
Yeah, no. Nightcrawler is very religious, and he's saying the Lord's Prayer in German, I think, the whole movie,
Yeah.
which is a nice touch, but also like a thing that is an interesting decision. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but the scarification.
Yeah. It's a good way to show that he is different and like kind of a more grotesque mutant besides just Blue Man.
Yeah, but in the comics, he's furry.
Well, I mean, how would you it's kind of the thing of at the time.
Yeah.
How would you portray that without making it look either really bad or really corny?
Oh yeah, no, but like contemporary Nightcrawler, if they adapt it, make him a blue suede man.
Hell yeah.
Like that's the texture his skin needs to have. It needs to be like fuzzy suede.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's a part of me that goes like, I'm not a fan of the justification for the scarification of like, oh, I look like a demon, so I need to carve my body with angel script to be religious, and it's just like,
It's weird logic and like, but that's another thing to me is I kind of these days I chalk that up to fucking just all religious logic is weird to me. But as a kid, I was probably just like, yeah, whatever. It's a cool blue man who could teleport.
yeah. But like in the comics, is Nightcrawler's relationship with his more devil appearance is like, God made me this way, so I'm not a devil. I know I'm not. So
Yeah.
why should I care? That's always been the vibe I've gotten with Nightcrawler. But also, can we just talk about the pitch perfect sound design with the one thing that they had to get right?
You like
Bamf.
Bamf?
I like the Bamfs. They're good. How
See,
else could you make a Bamf?
I don't know, but here's the thing. That didn't sound like Banff to me as a kid, out of the context of the comics. And I keep coming back to that phrase, but like when I started finding out about comic book X-Men and I found out that that was like a big thing, is his teleport always has Banff over it. I was like, but that's not what it sounded like in the movie. In the movie, it sounded like,
To me, it sounded like more boomf, kind of like that. But like, it's a more realistic version of what we have in like animated stuff, which is much more of like shimmery.
Yeah, I have seen how he teleports in X-Men Evolution, and that's kind of goofy, honestly.
Yeah, but like, that's a big thing about sound effects in the X-Men. X-Men has like very specific sound effects related to them.
I mean, snicked.
But that's relatively easy to get in a sound effect. Is snicket.
Mm-hmm.
Bamf is just as important, and it's just you have to really try and get that nailed down.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just really enjoy how they use his powers in fight scenes.
Oh yeah, that opening fight is so amazing.
Especially the using the secondary effect of his teleportation as a smoke screen. It's just like, that's brilliant. That's really cool. I dig that. But Alan Cummings did do a good job as Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I've been trying to remember his name all day, and
You're
like
welcome.
he is the perfect pick for Nightcrawler at this time, and he's such a great underrated character actor.
Mm-hmm. But he nails it. He gets it right. He hits all the right notes for him as much as he can with the time he had. Storm.
Thank you. I was trying to build up to that earlier, and you cut me off to talk about someone else. I forget who, but fucking goddamn, this is not Storm at all.
No, it's somewhat close, but it's nowhere near good enough.
It's not even close. It's just Halle Berry in a wig. It's literally just Halle Berry, the person walking around the X Mansion, pretending she has powers. Even as a kid, I was like, why is Halle Berry in this movie? She doesn't really do much, and she doesn't feel like a really cool character, which is weird because she controls the fucking weather.
Yeah, no, we need African goddess Aurora Storm.
They're going back to my wrestling thing. There are two people. Two literally two people perfect to play Storm right now, and they're both in the same company. You could literally have them have a match to decide who plays Storm. Either Big Swole or Jade Cargill. Give me one of those women as Storm, please.
Oh, I just realized we can never have T'Challa and Storm be together in the MCU.
Why'd you have to ruin my day with that?
Because here's the thing, they're also leading. I think they're leading to bringing them back together in the comics. Because they showed the solicitation covers for the new Black Panther book. Storm's on the page.
Fuck, dude.
Because because T'Challa annulled their wedding after Avengers versus X-Men. Annulled their marriage. Basically, like, yeah, no, we're breaking up right now. No. Which just feels more of like, we don't want the X-Men to feel important at all.
Yeah, editorial was fucking like, God, that sounds like editorial just made him into the biggest bitch boy ever.
Yeah.
Professor friends are all arguing. That means we can't fuck. That's what that is. That's literally what that is. Fuck you, Marvel editorial.
Yeah, and they had the best fucking relationship in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
God damn. They were good. We get hints of that in X of Swords, Ten of Swords.
Sick. I'm almost there.
Nice. Let's see. Thinking about other characters. Rogue.
Rogue is okay, but she's not comic book Rogue at all.
No.
She's a completely different character, but the character she is works for these movies, I think.
Yeah. Because comic book Rogue is just happy-go-lucky. I'm trying my best here, darling.
Yeah. Big, sexy, awesome, fucking Southern woman. Whereas Rogue's a little baby girl who's scared about her homosexuality and needs somebody to protect her.
Yeah. Let's see. Professor,
which I want to make clear, is not a bad character type. That's something we've gotten very away from and very like angry towards as a culture because we did it so much for so long. It's not a bad character type if you do it in the right context. And I feel like this is a fine context for that character.
It's also not just like, oh, it's a young woman unsure in exploring her sexuality. It's a young woman unsure in exploring her brand new mutant ability that can kill people.
Yeah.
Like, this movie really ratcheted it up at mutant as metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the scene with Bobby Drake and his parents.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you got us to that scene, because that scene is fucking hilarious given modern context.
Oh yeah.
Because it's literally just, I just came out as gay to my parents, but you changed the word gay to mutant. And now Iceman is gay in the comics.
Yeah. Again, repeating, the way he came out wasn't great. Fuck Brian Michael Bendis.
No, Bendis sucks.
Yeah, but he's your guys' problem now.
I liked the first part of his Superman run. That's all we'll say on that subject.
Isn't that the thing with Rokal Zar?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Rokal Zar is literally just the first few issues, and then they get rid of him, and then that dominates the Supergirl book, and the Supergirl book gets terrible.
Oh.
And Rokal Zar isn't even there for most of it.
Oh.
I could do a whole rant on fucking Bendis era Supergirl, which wasn't written by him. It was written by some fucker I'd never heard of before. And he's dominated by a character that fucker invented for that run. We're getting into this now. Okay.
Okay.
There's a character that they invent for that run that is basically What If Star-Lord but green. And they keep trying to build up a romance between him and Kara, but the character has a backstory of, oh, my mom is a space mafia bug, and that's bad, and she keeps trying to kill Supergirl, and I don't want her to because I want to fuck Supergirl. And at the same time, we're trying to have this story about Kara trying to put her demons to rest by finding the killer of Krypton, and she literally goes back to where Krypton used to be, massive fucking asteroid field in one issue, and it should be this big emotional, like, fucking mental journey issue for Kara, and instead it's dominated by Kara leaves, and then Green Star-Lord has to deal with some bullshit that shows up. And I have never been more mad at a comic than I was at that issue.
Oof. Big oofs.
Yeah. And I think I actually stopped reading like an issue or two after that. I don't know how that run ends.
That was the era where that was the time in DC where they were just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just copy Marvel. Like wholesale copy Marvel.
We did Rebirth, we fixed everything, now let's fuck around and find out.
Because there was also the character that was just Spider-Man. He just looked like Spider-Man.
Sideways. I read the first
Yeah.
couple issues of his book. It was fine, but it was a fucking poor man's Spider-Man.
And then there was the Hulk.
Mm-hmm. You remember when? You remember when DC fucking went, "Oh, you're not gonna do a Fantastic Four book? Cool, we'll do that. Here's the Terrifics."
Honestly, though, not a bad book. I did enjoy that.
Uh-huh.
Because
Also,
it wasn't, it was like Fantastic Four, but it wasn't trying to be the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean?
mhm. Also, getting back to the movie, I literally just watched the Backstreet Boys scene.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Cyclops listens to Backstreet Boys. No. That doesn't feel right. I don't think Cyclops would listen. What would Cyclops listen to?
That joke would have been okay if later you had called back to it by having somehow explained, "Oh no, Gene left that CD in the car."
Or if you just had like Cyclops do a one-liner of like, looks like I'm back. Are you quoting Backstreet Boys?
Or no, he was driving around some of the kids. He took some of the kids to get McDonald's, and they fuck McDonald's, and they left a CD in the car, something like that.
But what would Cyclops listen to? Because I can't imagine he'd be listening to metal or like rock.
I think Cyclops is a big Maroon 5 fan.
I don't see that either. I see jazz.
Cyclops is the guy who puts on jazz when you come over to make himself seem more sophisticated. I don't think Cyclops actually listens to jazz.
But I'm just scrolling through the movie, seeing of any things. Professor Xavier.
Perfect. There's no one better at the time. And it's like, as we understood Professor X in the comics at the time, this is a perfect adaptation of the character, I think.
Yeah, but especially with more contemporary understandings of Professor Xavier, that basically was like, hey, wait a second, a lot of the things Professor X did were kind of sus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's explore that. He could not be a contemporary Professor Xavier.
No.
He needs to be a little bit shady.
He would have to be TNG age Patrick Stewart in order to pull that off, because he did some action movies around that time, and he was pretty good at like being a character like that.
Because like you've been reading Hickman's stuff, but yeah, I imagine you're familiar with Illuminati.
Yeah.
Like that is my contemporary understanding of Professor Xavier of like, I am doing the best I can. I am trying to do everything as best I can to solve the problem. Nuclear option, I guess. Best I can do.
Do you think we'll get Illuminati in the MCU? Or a version of it? Because I think one of those characters is dead now.
Two of them. No. One of them's actually dead. One of them is dead figuratively because goddamn Feige ain't touching that with a 12-foot pole. Because the Illuminati are Professor Xavier, Doctor Strange, Namor the Submariner, Reed Richards, Iron Man, and Black Bolt.
Oh, okay. I forgot Black Bolt was on it. I forgot Black Bolt and Namor were on it.
Basically, any they all represent an aspect of the Marvel universe. Professor Xavier represents mutants. Doctor Strange represents magic. Reed Richards represents humans that got powers, like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Captain America, things like that. Namor represents Atlantis and the ocean, and basically all the other ancillary non-human humans to an extent. Black Bolt represents the Inhumans, and Tony Stark represents humans, regular
average
people.
Joes. The billionaire represents average Joes.
Also tech heroes. So like him, people like that. Like they all
Daredevil just walks up to him like, "You do not speak for me, motherfucker."
Nah. But no, this is a really good pitch perfect Professor Xavier. Sad that he kind of got punked out for most of the movie, being mind controlled.
But there were some cool, like, trippy scenes of him trying to fight Jason. Like the scene where he thinks he can walk for a second. Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah. Especially like that scene actually is better because of the prequel movies where you saw him moving around a bit and then getting hit by the bullet. It's just like, ooh, that's good.
Fucking Days of Future Past. where he's addicted to a drug that lets him walk but stops his mind control powers. And then the plot of that movie is his arc in that movie is learning to give that up for the good of others. And then you watch this scene and he sheds that one little tear, which is given so much more context by that movie alone of like, he's going, man, I wish, but I can never go back to that because I have to help the team. And then he just turns and goes, Jason, stop it.
Yeah, but that whole bit was like very interesting, but like it'd be cool to see Professor Xavier do other things. Also, you described her as Lady Wolverine.
Yeah, Lady Deathstrike is nothing like she is in the comics.
Yeah, no. Because goddamn, Lady Deathstrike is 90s and 80s as hell.
I say that purely from a design place too, because I've never read a Lady Deathstrike story. And I'm sure there's people who love it. I know there's people who are excited for that new Marvel Legends that's coming out, but I hate Lady Deathstrike's comic book design. I think it looks awful.
It's very evocative of the time she was created.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those classic character designs that you feel like you can't really change.
Really? People feel like that? Because I look at it and go, that needs to be changed. I don't know what to.
Well, she's on Krakoa, I believe, so who knows what'll happen now.
Good for her. Also, we're talking about aesthetics a lot. Costuming detail I like is when they go to Bobby's house and everybody gets new clothes. The clothes he gives Rogue that he says are his grandma's, they're kind of evocative of Rogue's modern costume. Well, not modern now, but she had in the mid 2000s with the scarf.
Yeah. Also, like the yellow piping on Wolverine's jumpsuit. That's nice. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed the X on the arm.
Yeah, I think that was always kind of a thing with those suits.
Yeah. These suits are also... I'm trying to remember which came first. The Grant Morrison new X-Men suits or these suits. Because Grant Morrison's new X-Men is very, very this design aesthetic.
I know this aesthetic inspired what the Ultimate X-Men looked like.
Yeah.
But, like, who remembers the Ultimate X-Men at this point? I think the only impact they had on comics as a whole is that Ultimate Kitty Pryde and Ultimate Peter Parker dated for a bit.
Yeah.
And even then, who cares about Ultimate Peter Parker at this point? The most important thing he ever did was die.
Yeah, and even then, he can't do that right. He's back.
He's what?
He came back eventually. I don't remember.
I hadn't heard of that. That's fucked.
Yeah, hold on. Let me double check.
Let Miles be his own thing. Jesus.
Yeah, Earth 1610, which is the Ultimate Universe. He is currently alive.
Goddamn.
Though he is in Earth 1610.
No, good for him. Stay the fuck away from Miles. Let Miles be his own boy. Oh man, I just saw one of my favorite lines in the movie. Fucking, and what are you a professor of, Mr. Logan? Art.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Here's I sent an image. You can't read the panel, but the
that looks like Ultimate Peter Parker.
But the bubble's fucked.
Wow, fuck that guy. How dare you disrespect my boy like that?
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Well, anything else to say about this movie?
This was a good end to a really interesting franchise.
Very funny. It's very funny what you did there.
I mean, realistically, if it was X1, X2, and then we immediately went to First Class, it'd be much better. Because X3 was that bad.
Technically, we did now that X3 is retconned by Days of Future Past.
Yeah. But
that's still one of the best, like, fuck yeah moments I've ever had in a theater, is just Wolverine waking up at the end of that movie and, good morning, Logan.
Yep. And now there's a whole bunch of other dumb retcon shit because of Deadpool 3 being in the MCU.
I hope that they just don't. I hope Deadpool is just like, all right, I'm in a new universe. What the fuck ever. Like, they should have a scene at the beginning of the movie where he literally just talks to the audience. Like, yeah, we were there. We're here now. Whatever. It's fine. I've got all the same cast. Don't worry.
Yeah, they're gonna play. They have to acknowledge it because that's the way they'll kind of like seed ideas and everything. But overall,
I mean, with his time travel shenanigans at the end of Deadpool 2, you could kind of fucking work that in to justify it.
Yeah.
What if Deadpool creates the MCU by fucking with the Fox timeline a bunch?
That's fucked. No. But no, X2 is a solid superhero flick plagued by the problems of superhero flicks of the time.
Yeah, like we've talked about it here and there. There is a definite stench all over this movie of, yeah, we're a comic book movie, but we're afraid to do comic booky things.
We're a comic book movie, but we're not going to be silly about it. They're not going to be going by their code names.
This is the cool adult comic book movie that you can show to all your friends to make them think that comics are cool. Also, or possibly I broke. Am I broken?
You broke
Hello.
for a second.
Am I alive?
You're back.
Can
You're
you
back.
hear me?
You're back. You're good.
Okay. I was just saying, like, this is they approach this with the attitude of, this is going to be the cool older comic book movie for adults that you can show all your friends and make them go, oh, the X-Men are cool.
Yeah. And like, other than Spider-Man, that was pretty much comic book movies of the time.
And even then, people took Spider-Man very seriously at the time. It didn't get acknowledged as silly till much later.
Yeah. Like, because the next big thing I was thinking of is like, goddamn Daredevil.
Daredevil, the director's cut, is fine.
Yeah, it's fine, but like, there's a lot of bits in that. It's just like, takes me to here. Fantastic Four is a very similar thing because it's like,
oh no, Tim Story's Fantastic Four is awful.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I knew that movie was bad.
But overall, solid, plagued by the time. Realistically, it's not like top tier superhero flick, but it is a thing that we need to go back to and watch. Similar to like X1, I say it's a little bit higher, but Blade.
Like, the movies in this universe that I'd say are worth watching: X1, X2, The Wolverine, First Class, Days of Future Past, Logan, and no, do Apocalypse, then watch Logan. Watch the universe.
Deadpool.
Yeah, but do the Deadpool movies whenever you feel like it, I think. After X1 and X2, you can kind of do the Deadpool movies whenever you feel like it. Everything else you kind of need to do in that order, especially because Days of Future Past is a retcon that firmly cements the movies with those casts in their own timeline. I am sick of having this fucking argument with people.
Man, the movies are fucked.
They are. But we like them. We watch them and we talk about them because we have to put out context.
So why don't we go ahead right now and say what we're doing next week?
Yeah, we can do that. Let me check the thing.
I know exactly what we're doing because I have it up. So, because I thought it'd be fun, we decided to look at a slightly underrated, often overlooked adaptation of one of Marvel's classic cast of characters in animation.
Yeah.
We're looking at Fantastic Four, world's greatest superheroes, and we're not watching any specific order of episodes. We just have a small selection of episodes that we both agreed on. Oh, that'd be fun to watch. So real quick, we're watching episode 2, 10, 11, and 17.
Yeah, and we'll probably just make it like a coverage of the whole show, because this is something that I watched at the time when it was airing, and I had a DVD of, I want to say, like the first 5 or 6 episodes as a kid that I watched quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's solid stuff, but like, we'll talk about it. It's on Disney Plus and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, till next week, hey V-Man, why don't you tell me any comics or toys or anything?
Yeah, do we want to get into toy news? There was a lot of comic book toy news this week.
Okay, fucking let's go.
So first things first, this got revealed literally like an hour after we stopped recording last week, and it didn't even really get properly revealed because this is a thing that's just been happening ever since Disney stores started carrying Marvel merchandise. You know the Marvel Select line?
Vaguely.
It is an action figure line of Marvel looks and things made by Diamond Select, and is supposed to be sold directly to comic book stores. But ever since Disney got the rights, bought Marvel, every other Marvel Select figure has been a Disney store exclusive. Unless it's like a movie thing, then it's guaranteed to be worldwide release. So feast your eyes on Marvel Select Disney store exclusive Loki and Kid Loki 2-pack.
That's not horrible.
Yeah, it looks really solid. It's based off of a Loki look I'm not a huge fan of. Like, that face sculpt is a little fugly in my opinion, but it's cool that we have a figure of that look of Loki.
Yeah.
Uh, but then we did get quite a bit of Hasbro Marvel Legends news this week. So first and foremost, Nano Gauntlet. It's getting a roleplay toy.
Nice.
Yeah. Comes
It's
with
been
all the
enough time
gems.
they can make the spoiler toys now.
Yeah, comes with all the gems. They're fully removable, which is cool. And it looks really interesting. I'm interested to see how much electronics they got into it because it looks like a glove that you can actually kind of wear and it'll feel like an actual glove. And they're advertising on the box that you should be able to do an actual snap with it.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too. No, you know what that looks like? It looks like there's two magnets in those two tips, and that might activate a switch.
Mm.
Like that's what because like they're not because I'm showing back on our cameras. You can't see it because this is an audio only podcast. But like normally on a snap, that would be where it would activate noise wise. But they're kind of showing it like there, where it's like you're putting the tips of the fingers together. So maybe it's like that's the switch to activate it.
But then getting back to figures, today in Marvel Legends news, we got another two reveals for the Infinity Saga subline of Marvel Legends. First off, Obadiah Stane and Ironmonger 2 pack.
That's
You can
nice.
6-inch Jeff Bridges.
God damn it.
I
Use
might
credit like that.
I might be going back on my MCU embargo as far as collecting specifically for this set and that Mark III, because God, won't that be a nice display?
God damn. Ironmonger was a fucking badass thing in the movies.
Yeah, it's a great design. And like at this point, that movie is what, 11, 12 years old now?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of nostalgic to look at new toys for that movie.
Oh yeah, I also love the accessories Obadiah gets with the reactor.
Yeah. And somebody was pointing out, let me see if I can find a specific photo. Um, Somebody posted this photo on Twitter and said, now you can't unsee Obadiah Stane getting ready to transform with a Lockseed. It's a
God
common
damn
writer
it!
joke for those of you not in the know. Uh, but yeah,
God damn it!
this set looks so great. And now you can recreate the first MCU meme. I just realized that.
Holy shit! Yeah. Holy fuck! I wonder. Damn.
You remember that when that was the biggest viral thing to come out of the MCU? Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
There's that one, but there's also the meme people did where Obadiah is like leaning over Tony, grabbing the reactor. Like I saw that being used as a template too.
Mm. But then we got another reveal, which is that we're getting they're doing a second take on Infinity War Captain America.
Ooh.
Because they did do that as a figure in a wave. I believe it was the first MCU Thanos build a figure wave. And there were some things off about the sculpt. He didn't come with the shields, and the face sculpt was horrible. It looked nothing like Chris Evans. To the point where Red Letter Media actually made a joke in one of their videos. They went out and bought the figure, and they were like, "This looks more like Jay Bauman than it does Chris Evans."
Now this one looks a lot better.
Yeah,
It'd be
it's
really cool to have MCU Nomad.
yeah, because that's kind of what this is, isn't it? He was. I remember they were saying right before the movie came out. In this movie, he's going to be Nomad in spirit. So yeah, definitely a really good, really solid looking figure that I want to get a hold of. Now that I'm breaking my fucking movie embargo. Oh God, a whole new floodgate is open now that I've said that on a podcast. But let's get into some import news and some DC news. Hey, DC figures are a thing, everybody.
Hey.
It may not seem like it because I largely ignored the McFarlane line, but they do make figures for DC.
But the McFarlane line's not bad. It's just like
It's good. It's just too big for what I want. Is the problem?
you're a picky bastard.
Yeah. Um. And speaking of things I want to pick, hey, remember Batman Ninja?
Ooh.
Remember the
Ooh,
Catwoman
yeah.
design from that movie?
Yeah.
6-inch, or I'm sorry, 12-inch, which is doll scale Catwoman figure from that movie. And I didn't realize until this figure how borderline revealing that outfit is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's that's a mesh. That's not solid.
Yeah, I thought that was leather until this figure, but apparently it's supposed to be mesh. And oh god, um,
Oh god.
and this line
Oh,
has done a
trust
Batman. This line
fucking
had. Did you see the picture of what picture are you reacting to?
no. I got down. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Yeah,
Those were the ones that kind of like, oh my god.
yeah, they know what they did. They know what they did because this is a Japanese toy company, so of course. Um, and hey, if you go to 13, this company did make a Batman Ninja figure, so they're not just making this to make this.
Yeah.
But it's still a little like, oh wow, huh, yeah.
I do like the posable eyes. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite Catwoman designs. She is a good design.
Yeah, I do. I have wanted to get the Figma of this design for a while because this is another thing where it's like this is cool, but it's too big for my taste because I collect 6-inch scale, which is 1/12 scale if we're getting technical. This is 1/6 scale, which is 12-inch figures, doll size.
Yeah, but this seems to be more like this should line up with your anime figures, your static anime figs, not your
Yeah, this
posable
can go
figures.
next to like the big anime statues.
Because like I'm looking through these photos, I don't see any articulation cuts. They are
No,
very well hidden.
it's probably a seamless body, honestly. Which is a thing that's been getting way better in terms of engineering in the last couple of years. A lot of companies have been going with seamless bodies for female figures, especially. Like there was a Lady Death that recently came out that was on a seamless body that was really cool. Um, but then we can move over to Mafex because they revealed 2 new figures this week. Or I'm sorry, Mafex because that line is short for Miracle Action Figure. So there's a lot of arguments about how to pronounce that thing. I default to Mafex, but it is supposed to be Mafex. Anyways, they revealed to go with their Dark Knight Batman and their other Dark Knight Batman and their armored Dark Knight Batman and their Dark Knight Joker and their Dark Knight Carrie Kelly, Dark Knight Superman,
Ooh,
Chunky Superman.
the good design Superman with a bad character.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is probably going to be exciting for anybody who's into that whole subline they've got going. Not my particular taste. I haven't been buying any of those figures. I've almost bought the Hush Batman and Superman they did a couple times. And their Hush Catwoman just came out, and that figure looks phenomenal. But
The cape looks amazing.
yeah, they've been really good with their posable capes because what they do is that's a cloth cape that's 2 pieces of thick, nice, luxurious cloth sewn together. There's a wire on one side, a wire on the other side, a wire running down the bottom, and a wire running down the middle. So you can pose that however you want. But yeah, that looks fantastic. And then the other comic book figure Metacom revealed for their Mafex line this week is hey, all you Jim Lee fans out there, they're making the worst Jean Grey design.
Oh my god, the best Jean Grey design.
Fuck you.
Look, she has pockets on the side of her pants. God damn, I love this Jean Grey.
Yeah, no.
Fuck you, it's great.
This there's just not a lot of Jean Grey designs I like, and this is definitely one of the ones I don't like. Especially with the weird like thong over the top of everything she has going.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I am saying that I'm right though.
I also just don't think the colors go together, and I don't like the way the shoulder pads clash with the head sock and her hair. It's a big old mess in my opinion. This costume, but it looks like an excellent figure of this costume, I will say.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely one to watch out for, folks. But that is all the figure news this week. So do you want to take the lead on comics?
Are you wanting me to take the lead on comics because you didn't read that many comics?
I might.
All right, cool. Oh, that's the thing I didn't talk about that I freaked out about with X2.
Mhm.
Guess who wrote X2? Guess who was one of the writers?
I don't know.
David Hayter.
Yeah, I remember hearing that a while ago.
Do you know who David Hayter is?
He's fucking Snake.
Yeah, fucking Solid Snake. The fuck, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was also in Mobile Suit Gundam and Yu Yu Hakusho
for him.
as Sean Barker.
Schomburger.
But, so why don't I give you a list of the comics I read this week, and you can ask me which one you want to talk about first.
Oh God, it's that kind of week?
Oh, I have read the latest issue of Heroes Reborn, the new Shang Chi ongoing or mini, I'm not sure which it is, Way of X #2, Wolverine, the latest issues, Radiant Black issue 4, latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man. I started reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil, Solid Blood, issue 17, issues 3 of Children of the Atom, and I started reading Fantastic Four Life Story. Which one do you want to hear about?
I've been excited for Life Story since it got announced. Just let me know.
Okay, it is not exactly the way they did Spider-Man Life Story.
Mm.
It is a little bit different. It's not bad, but it is different. So in Spider-Man Life Story, it starts like a good few years after Spider-Man starts. So basically, the early Stan and Ditko comics are basically the beginning, and then at some point it diverges. And this, it diverges in the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So basically it gives an explanation of why the Fantastic Four are building a rocket and doing all that kind of stuff. Because Kennedy wants to beat the Soviets in a space race, and Reed Richards has an experimental rocket design that uses an experimental fuel of antimatter to possibly beat the Soviets to space. And that's why they're building the ship and everything. And there's another scientist, semi on the team, that simultaneously kind of just wants to fuck over Reed, but also feels like Reed's plans are too dangerous. The technology isn't there for it yet. A variety of other things, and basically gets the project shit canned. No more. I think the line specifically was the technology will be available to use the fuel that you have designed in 1986. It's not available right now. We can't do this. We're shutting down the project. So Reed talks to his girlfriend Sue, and she basically goes, "We've been working on this forever," because Sue is a woman in the 60s who is just as much of an engineer as Reed Richards is, and has been helping with the project. So they're in her apartment, her house or whatever, going like, "What are we gonna do?" And Sue basically goes like, "Well, what if we just take it for ourselves?" And Reed's going like, "But we need a pilot." And that's when Johnny Storm walks in and goes like, "I just heard everything, and if you don't want me to go to the cops, bring me along. I know a pilot."
You bitch.
That's why Johnny Storm is on the ship in this continuity. And the pilot Johnny Storm knows is one Mr. Benjamin Grimm. Ben Grimm isn't Reed's friend before the mission. So they go up, they do the typical Fantastic Four thing. They go up, they get hit by cosmic rays. Another big change. Reed Richards also gets a vision of Galactus.
Okay.
They come back and they got those Fantastic Four powers. They're in a military base doing all that kind of stuff, and they're seeing if they're fine and everything. And Ben Grimm is freaking out because he's the goddamn thing, like you do. And basically Ben Grimm goes like, "I fucking hate you, Reed. I didn't know who the fuck you were. You brought this on to me. Fuck you." And basically the US military goes like, "All right, you guys have to pretend to be happy because you made a big giant kerfuffle of this whole situation. We can't hide it. We're putting you out on parade as brave astronauts who did this on purpose. Like, this wasn't a mistake. We have to, because if it was a mistake, the Soviet Union will pounce on it." Essentially, that's the idea. So then we have the Fantastic Four, as we know them. They fight the bad guys. They're doing all the charity. They're doing all that kind of stuff. Blah 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 blah. All the while, Reed Richards is kind of trying to solve Ben Grimm's problem, but also is trying to recreate the thing so he can make sure he saw Galactus right. And was going like, "Did I see that, or am I just going crazy?" And eventually, the other scientist at the beginning of the story, who was like, "Yeah, no, we're shelving your project," comes to Ben Grimm and goes like, "Hey, here's a device that will make me the thing temporarily and make you human." And Ben Grimm goes like, "Thank you. Now I can go talk to my the girlfriend that I had that I never wanted to see because I looked like the thing." And so Reed is about to go into his device to try and see Galactus again. And this person impersonating the thing comes in with him, and Reed's going like, "Oh, you don't have to be in here, Ben." And the guy goes like, "Oh, but I do. It's the perfect place to commit a murder." And then the machine activates, and they both see Galactus, and they're trying to run away. And the guy goes like, "You were right. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Go save the world. I'm sacrificing myself to protect you, Reed Richards." And as he dies, Ben Grimm becomes a thing again, and that's kind of where the story ends.
Man, I don't know how I feel about that. That change of making the FF a government thing that they're kind of just going along with rather than it being their own charitable idea.
It is a very different take. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I'll wait until the whole thing is done. But I kind of wish it did follow the Spider-Man thing where like, no, we're like 3 years into the Fantastic Four existing. You know the origin. We don't need to tell it to you. Here's the story from there on out. In a way, it kind of feels like it's trying to be like, we're not doing Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man life story. We're doing our own thing, which is fine. Fair enough. Fine.
Okay.
So, what other comic do you want me to talk about? Or do you have a comic you'd like to talk about, sir?
Yeah, let's do some back and forth. Now that I've gotten the big one I want to know from you out of the way, why don't I do one and then you pick one you want to talk about? Let's keep going until we run out of stuff.
Alrighty.
So first thing I want to talk about is I read DC Fortnite 0 Point issue 3. Specifically, I read issue 3 because I saw the cover. This is Batman versus Snake Eyes. Everybody, the fucking fight you've been doing with your action figures since you were 5 years old is finally a comic. And it's as great as you could possibly want it to be. Because there's no dialogue in the entire fucking issue. But it's all from Snake Eyes' perspective. And it's all narration of a fucking G.I. Joe field report that he wrote up after the mission. And
That's kind of cool.
It's him talking about explaining like the crazy, weird interdimensional bullshit that goes on with Fortnite and how he ended up in the DC universe and meeting up with Batman. And like initially they fight, but very quickly they figure out what each other are about. And they're like, oh, okay, we're both trying to stop this thing. Let's just be bros and stop this thing together. All right, let's do the fucking handshake from that Arnold movie. All right. And it's the best. It's literally the best. Yeah, it's literally the best thing ever. They literally do the Beckett, you son of a bitch handshake, and I lost it.
I saw the page that's from. I loved how they were doing sign language right before that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Like, that's good.
That whole fucking comic was just like, this is it. Comics have peaked. It'll never be better than this.
Yeah. No, I've been hearing good things about that as just like a fun little side thing to all the goings on at DC. It's just like, oh yeah, this is fun. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm. And I love how both DC and Marvel got to do that. Like, it makes so much sense.
It's the closest we'll have to a Marvel DC crossover in quite some years. Why do the comics we love dislike the other comics that we love?
I don't know. That's a thing with this podcast, I guess, is just being star-crossed lovers.
Yeah. So let's talk about Way of X.
All right, how's Way of X going?
Oh my god, it's getting so fucking good. Okay, so let me just run you through this comic. So last issue, Nightcrawler goes out to the graveyard and tries and finds David, Professor Xavier's son, Legion. Now, do you know the whole deal with Legion?
I know he's Professor Xavier's son. I know he's got crazy ass mind powers. I know he had a show on the Sci-Fi Channel.
You know Crazy Jane from Doom Patrol?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
But less split personality and just more of like schizophrenia.
I have always meant to watch Legion, by the way. People always tell me like that's a really good show.
Basically, the issue starts up with Legion going like, "Oh hey, Nightcrawler. I'm glad you're here. Please don't call me Legion. I just don't like it right now." And Nightcrawler goes like, "Oh, are you the Patrick man who's been fucking with people on Krakoa?" And he's like, "No, is that what Dad thinks? Okay, Jesus, we gotta fix things." And he jumps into Nightcrawler's mind, and inside Nightcrawler's mind, it's a pirate ship in a battle with a Kraken, and it's just chaos, and it's all being manned by different versions of Nightcrawler. And Legion is like roping. He said, "Don't call him Legion." It'll make more sense why I'm calling him Legion later on in the book. He swoops down, grabs the thing, goes like, here's the reason why your brain's all in trouble. And he pops back out of Nightcrawler's mind because he's an astral projection form and goes like, here, stolen treasure, me hearties. Horrid wee thing. Think of it like dog piss on a tree. A sign someone's been playing silly buggers in your subconscious. That's his direct line. And basically goes like, someone's been like giving you subconscious directions. What's going on here? And so basically the Legion goes, okay, favor for a favor. I did a thing for you. You need to do a thing for me. My actual body is going to basically go nuclear in about 10 minutes. I need you to get a team and go to this location that I implanted in your head, and we need to solve this problem immediately, okay? I'll see you in 10 minutes. I'll see you in a few minutes. So Nightcrawler then immediately jumps back to Krakoa. He goes like, all right, I need a team. And he goes to the lagoon, people hang out, and gets the scientist from the first issue and Pixie, and basically goes like, all right, you two come with me. We have a big ass problem. And like Pixie goes like, why do you need me, Kurt? You're just as good a teleporter as I am. And he goes like, I don't need you for teleportation. I need you for something else. So he's going off on his own way, trying to get back to where Legion's pointed him. And where Legion put him was at an Orcus base.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Orcus is basically the big human organization that's trying to kill the mutants in this era. So they go in, and Legion's there, and says, and basically is like, all right, cool, I'll lead you to where we need to go. And basically Legion goes, oh, you brought Pixie because she has a dagger that will kill me, and also like she has the ability to like make me calm, kind of thing. So like you can do it and all that kind of stuff. And like Legion takes him to a place, and he takes him to a brain in a jar. He's not alive. It's not his body. It's his brain. Orcus has been experimenting on his brain, making a virtual reality within it to basically run experiments. What's the experiment? They're basically trying to engineer a societal collapse on Krakoa. They're trying to force mutants to kill each other in order to solve their problem. So like Nightcrawler and Pixie kind of solve the problem. They get out, but Legion's brain is about to go nuclear, and like Legion goes like, "All right, you need to kill me. Too late. Can't make a snowball roll uphill. The next discharge will be bloody world ender. You know as well as I do. There's only one way to stop this." Okay. So Pixie goes like, "All right, I can kill him." And Nightcrawler goes, "You don't like being called Legion. Did you know a Nightcrawler is a type of worm? It's blue and it's disgusting. Not a clever insult, but it's one I heard many times as a child. So I took it and I made it mine. You are not your flaws, David Haller. And if destroying a lump of empty meat will help you start afresh to rule yourself, well, perhaps there are sins worth sinning. Everybody get out, please. Forgive me, Father, for, you know what? Never mind." And he shoots the gun. We then see Krakoa, and every mutant goes, "Oh shit, Legion is being resurrected." Because the Five just start doing it automatically, and everyone's freaking out. There's like, I'm just gonna read the page. A silence like drums, a rolling, stifling thunder of anti-noise, smothering songs, lifting eyes and minds from mundane matters. In Arbor Magna, the Five fell still, as if each were struck by the same idea all at once. Without a word spoken, they turned to a new task. Later, Krakoans would speak of a moment the hairs raised on their arms and the air felt heavy. It was inevitable some would respond to these potents with alarm, either sensing or guessing their meaning, while others were gripped by older instincts, to witness, to protect, to balance, and with it, the unmistakable sensation of something descending. The risks were weighed, the precedents against the possibilities, the heart against the head. And you see Legion's body, without Professor Xavier putting in the soul back into the body, lying on the floor. And like Professor Xavier's just going like, "This is my son, but he's also possibly one of the most dangerous mutants in existence that could kill everything. I don't think I can put him back in." And then Legion just goes, "Not to worry, eh? You know what they say, if you want a job done properly, do it yourself." And he brings his soul back into his body himself.
Damn.
And he goes like, "Hey, Dad, you look like a crap astronaut." And basically he goes like, yeah, no, Dad, I know you were worried why to bring me back. You got that big Hellfire Gala thing. And Professor Xavier's going like, David, please try and basically try to behave. And this is why it's important. Oh, don't worry, Dad. I will not embarrass you. Shiny new brain, see? It'll take a while for the voices to get loud. But do me a favor. Call me Legion. And Magneto immediately goes, all right, Legion, I am gathering a bunch of Omega level mutants to do a thing. And he basically goes like, nah, I don't trust you. I don't trust you either, Dad. The only one I trust here is Nightcrawler, because he doesn't know jack shit and isn't acting like he knows everything like you two are. So I'm gonna hang out with him and do some stuff. All right. Tell you this, I've been in his head. It's chock bloody full of questions, but he's not pretending he's got the answers. That I trust. And so basically, they're walking out, and Legion just goes favor for a favor. Basically saying, I just gave you the biggest stamp of endorsement in the world, Nightcrawler. You're working with me. I'm working with you. No questions.
Sick.
Okay. And then they're walking out, and basically Nightcrawler's going like, all right, here's the premise of what I'm going through, Legion. I want your input. And he's basically going like, all right. And Legion goes like, all right, you're trying to solve the societal moral collapse that we're facing. It's probably being like seeded by Orcus with that coin thing I found in your head. So we have some place to start, but we also have a good foundation because the Quiet Council did make those 3 rules, guidelines, laws. I'm not saying the laws are right, but if you're looking for common ground to keep everyone thinking we instead of me, maybe that's the place to start. The Nightcrawler responds, It sounds like you think Krakoa needs police more than priests. I don't know. I don't think there's a word yet for what Krakoa needs, but Kurt, I'm pretty sure you're it. Basically saying, you're on the right path, Kurt. You're the spiritual leader for Krakoa going forward. And basically, Nightcrawler goes, so do you know who the Patchwork Man is? I do. I can sense him, Kurt. Clear as day. And there's a good reason I didn't say so to my dad or Magneto. Parents don't always think straight when it comes to their heirs. Onslaught, Kurt. It's bloody onslaught.
Oh shit.
And I'm just sitting here going like, oh shit, this is fucking dope. Like it immediately goes like, all right, there's a bunch of reasons why everything's going wrong, why it immediately feels weird. There's places that we can go, things that we can explore, and bloody fucking onslaught. Ah,
Nice. Just one question.
yes.
Who is Legion's mom?
I'm trying to remember. I think she is Scootish.
Is it that would be fucking hilarious if it's Moira.
It's not Moira. Gabriel Haller.
Never heard of her.
She's a human.
Damn. Professor X has got a serious human fetish going on.
But yeah, no, that's Way of X, and it's like it's badass. It's like really cool stuff. There's this final page that's too big to send over Discord. Hold on. I'll give it to you in a second because it's really fucking dope.
Nice.
Yeah. No, this issue got me excited for the possibilities. So why don't you tell me another comic you read?
Well, I read Nightwing number 80. And that series is continuing to be super excellent and a whole lot of fun and exactly the kind of Bat Family content I need right now.
Are they doing legacy numbers now?
No, this was number 80. This is they're still going off of the same numbering they've been going off of since Rebirth started.
Okay.
So this is technically issue 3 of Tom Taylor's run.
Okay.
But this issue is really great because it starts with Dick Grayson waking up on his couch and the dog he's adopted is barking as someone's knocking at the door. He's totally just what the fuck? What's going on? Okay, and he goes and answers the door, and it's 2 Bloodhaven police, and they're like, "Mr. Grayson, are you aware of this this person who was murdered last night? You booked a hotel room in their name, and now they're dead." And he's like, "I totally have an alibi, but she just left." So he calls Barbara, who's literally just down the street, and she comes back and basically plays lawyer for him in a really funny way, because I always forget this, and everyone always forgets this, is that Barbara does have a legitimate law degree. So she's able to just like fucking totally school these two Bloodhaven cops who are like, come on, man. You used to be a police officer around here. Don't you want to help us out? Don't you want to help us out? Come on, just tell us what's going on. And Nightwing's, of course, is like, yeah, no, I left the force because there were too many criminals on it.
I did what every good cop should do.
Yeah. But no, and there's also a really fun moment where she's vouching for him because like, hey, I was with Dick all last night. Don't worry about it. I'm a good alibi. You can check my phone GPS and see that I haven't left this apartment at all last night. And they just go, all right, so what's the nature of your relationship? And they both just have this look of like, we're not actually sure. which is just
Starfire in this continuity.
She's in this continuity. She hasn't shown up in this book yet.
No, I was more making a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Does Starfire exist? What about this?
Have the three of them move in together. Just do it, you fucking cowards.
I mean, if Wolverine and Cyclops can do it.
But Dick, of course, decides to start investigating the murder. And so he calls in help from the best family in the Bat Detective. Tim fucking Drake shows up in this comic.
Nice.
It's really great. Like the way he introduces him in the narration is just great. Because he says to Barbara, if I'm right about where the kid is, I'm going to need some very specific help. I need to make a call. And she goes, to whom? And the narration takes over and it says, my brother, Tim Drake, thought of by many as the best Robin. I totally get it.
That's nice.
And excuse me. And Dick shows up, or I'm sorry, Tim shows up, and he immediately goes, Batman wanted me to give you something. It's a wallet and a chain. It means kids can't steal your money. And as an added bonus, you can front a soft metal band in the early 2000s.
I want to imagine Bruce fed him that entire line.
Yeah. And of course, Dick's just like, I'm never living that down, am I? And Tim goes, of course not. But we get a great sequence of them running through the city together and showing how in sync they are. And Dick basically goes like, hey, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to take the dog and you're going to go in disguise to the camp where all the homeless kids are. And you're going to try and find the guy who got murdered's son. And you're going to check on them, make sure they're all right, see if they saw anything. Solid plan. And it starts to go off without a hitch. And then as he's walking through the homeless camp to try and make conversation, there's another really funny moment where Tim's just trying to make conversation. So he goes, so, Babs stayed the night, huh? And Dick just goes, I slept on the couch. I see. And then Barbara chimes in, you know I'm on this channel, right? And Tim's just like, well, now I do.
God damn. Give me happy Bat fam. Don't make them dour. Don't make them angry at each other.
Also, because they do a lot of fun things with the art in this book, and especially this issue. Look at Chibi Babs there chiming in.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. But they catch up with the kid. They find out that like they're really shook up, but they're okay, and they of course didn't see anything. So they're like, all right, I guess we'll have to go try and check out the scene of the crime because the cops have probably cleared away from it by now. And then fucking Brutal and the Electrocutioner show up. Two of the most scrub-ass Batman scrub villains that are henchmen for the Blockbuster at this point in in continuity. And they're basically here to shake down the homeless camp. They're like, hey, we heard some of you were stealing, and no matter how petty the crime, any crime in the city, Blockbuster gets a cut of it. So let's go. And then Dick, of course, steps in to defend them, and he goes, guys, is this really where you want to be in life? Because I don't pretend to understand henchman job satisfaction, but stealing from homeless kids has to feel like a career low. Just
Yeah.
like such good banter.
Oh man, just imagine the bants between Nightwing and Spider-Man.
It's all I want. It's all I fucking want in my life, man. But what I'm getting is another great art moment where when Tim suits up and joins the fight, uh, we get a great panel where, in the style of an IKEA instruction booklet, Nightwing puts his batons together to make a staff and throws them to Robin because Tim Drake's whole thing is staffs.
Nice. You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the Hawkeye run.
Mm-hmm.
It has that similar kind of minimalist, experimenting with the page kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's really
But
nice.
it's great. But they kick the crap out of Electrocutioner and Brutal, and then a fire starts up in the camp, and they're like, "Are you guys fucking kidding me? You set a fire?" And they're like, "This wasn't us. We can't get money out of dead people." So they all kind of like put aside their differences to start getting people out of the camp, and then um, as Nightwing splits off from the others to go help some kids that are trapped, he finds out it it wasn't any it wasn't anyone that they knew involved with the case. It was the guy who's behind it all. They've now met new main villain for Nightwing, Heartless.
That immediately looks like Red Hood.
It does, doesn't it?
Neat design anyway.
Mhm.
But like, if like you didn't know what was going on, you go like, "Oh, is that Red Hood?"
Yeah. But no, it was a really, really solid issue. This run just feels nice and comfy, is why I like it, I think. It's good, comfy Bat Family content. And even though I'll keep saying it until the cows come home, I really feel like uh fucking Dick should just pull a Gene and get his two boos together in the same house. I'm really enjoying the fact that this book is shipping Nightwing and Batgirl or Oracle at this point. It's really working out as a fun kind of awkward friendship. And another cool thing I wanted to touch on before I get away from DC stuff, because the other things I read this week were Marvel. I just found out this week Milestone is coming back. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw the cover for the new Static.
Yeah, New Static looks good. It's being written by somebody I've never heard of, which is honestly kind of exciting. And then guess who they fucking put on Icon and Rocket?
Ooh.
Reginald Hudlin.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm big excited for that book because I've read all of the original Icon and I love that.
Right. So
Your turn.
I'm not sure which one to take you through. So I'll give you the list that we have right now. So Heroes Reborn, Shang Chi, Wolverine, Radiant Black, Amazing Spider-Man, Daredevil, Solid Blood, and Children of the Atom.
I got the new Shang Chi book.
Okay, so this picks up right after the last Shang-Chi miniseries they did.
Which was when?
Not that long ago. Like maybe last year? Yeah,
Literally all I know about Shang-Chi is the stuff from his original run. And I know that because of a Marvel history book I used to listen to all the time on audiobook.
Well, his current status quo, as from the last miniseries, is he's now in control of the criminal organization his dad ran.
Okay.
He's now the head of it, and he's basically trying to clean it up. And like nobody so far is going like you're wrong for doing that. It's just more of like your tactics are inefficient.
He's trying to hit a square peg with a round hole.
Right, but it's less like because we mostly get this through his sister, which that's also a thing they retcon with Shang-Chi, is he actually had a bunch of siblings that he didn't know about.
Oh, good for him.
But to have siblings. So Shang-Chi is basically the leader of the fist part of the whole family dynamic. So he's master of martial arts. But his sister is master of knives. So she's the Dagger Queen, I think, is what she called herself. Hold on. I'm trying to Deadly Dagger. She calls herself Deadly Dagger. Okay. The best way to put it is she's a girl version of Damien.
Sick.
That's the kind of vibe you get with her. So basically, Shang-Chi is trying to live his life, trying to clean up this organization, solve the problems that it caused. And basically, everyone's kind of on board with it. It's just more of like, Yeah, but like you could kill them and solve the problem 10 times faster, but I don't want to kill them. But you could. Yeah, but I don't want to.
So it's Batman talking to Batman fans.
Yeah. And so he's at a date trying to solve the problem, and basically his sister throws the goddamn drug dealer at the door, says like, I found a lead, help me. And he's like, fine, whatever, let's get on the thing. And the drug dealer picks up a weird hand looking root, ingests it, and now he has furry hands with claws and starts attacking Shang-Chi. And they're trying to figure it out. And they beat him down a little bit. And so his younger sister, who looks like 13, has a knife to the dude's throat, going like, all right, you're going to tell us where you got that. Spider-Man swoops down, web slings the goddamn knife out of her hand, and goes like, all right, what's the situation? Shang-Chi basically goes like, hey, he's my friend. Chill the fuck out, you tiny murder psycho. And like they have a cool little banter of like, oh hey, and Spider-Man goes, oh hey, we should do the Marvel team up. Let's team up. Let me help you out. And Shang-Chi's going like, no, I'm technically doing criminal shit, and I don't want you involved because you're Spider-Man. So they get to the place, and Shang-Chi's going like, hey, you can go, no, and Spider-Man goes, no, let me help. I'm Spider-Man. I can help.
Friend, let me play too. Friend.
So the sister goes in and she confronts the dude because they find it's a Chinese traditional medicine pharmacy. She walks in and the guy goes like, hey, so the person who gave me this drug to distribute is the one who helped me immigrate to America and gave me all these opportunities. So I'm gonna kill you. And so Spider-Man and Shang-Chi go in the back and they find the growery where all the weeds and stuff there are. Also, there's a running joke within this issue because the sister says like, oh, his web feels like snot.
That's
So
brilliant.
Spider-Man repeatedly asks henchmen that he webs up, like, here's what he says. Hey guys, would you describe my webbing as super strong rubber bands, maybe? Or a bungee cord? No way you would say snot, right? He's like super insecure trying to it's not snot, it's web. It's adorable. And basically the pharmacy dude who looks like an old frail man is on the floor, and Spider-Man goes like, oh, let me help you up. And he goes like, all right, cool, Spider-Man, here's the drug. And now he grows 2 extra arms, like Yeti arms. So he's like man spider for like a brief bit, and Shang-Chi and his sister have to fight him. And his sister goes like, all right, guess I gotta kill him. And Shang-Chi's going, no, don't kill fucking Spider-Man. Spider-Man was already superhumanly strong. The urine roots made him even stronger. No more risking your life, Supreme Commander. You hold his jaws open, I'll slit his throat from the inside. And basically, they're going like, "Nah, we'll save it." And basically, he saves Spider-Man, and basically he's trying to avoid talking about it to Spider-Man. And the sister just basically goes, "What are you? You're trying to solve this. Are you ashamed of your family? Are you ashamed of us?" And he just looks at Spider-Man and goes, I'm sorry, Spider-Man. I should have told you the truth. My sister belongs to the organization my dad started. I'm now in control of it. I'm trying to change it. And basically, I'm in control of this area. I am taking charge. You can't you can't do anything about it. And Spider-Man doesn't like argue, doesn't say, oh, you're a bad guy now. He just asks, are you still one of us? Basically, are you still a hero? And Shang-Chi just goes, what does your spider sense tell you? And we don't get a response, which is just like a beautiful little nice moment. And it's just like, oh, that's really cool. They're really playing into this. I like the dynamic between him and Spider-Man. It was really good. And next week, Captain America's gonna the next issue, Captain America's gonna show up.
Is this just Marvel team up starring Shang-Chi?
No, this arc is called Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe.
Excellent.
It's basically just a book going like, hey, look how badass Shang-Chi is before his movie comes out.
Oh, you're wondering who the fuck Shang-Chi is before his movie is? Here's him with this character. Here's him with this character. We're contextualizing him for casuals.
Yeah. But it's a really fun, kind of lighthearted book. It's nice.
Sick. I might check it out. But what I did check out in the world of Marvels this week was I read Dawn of X, Volume 10, which contains X-Force number 10, Excalibur number 9, Giant Size X-Men Nightcrawler number 1, Hellions number 1, and New Mutants number 9.
All right. What books popped out at you?
Everything felt pretty solid. There was nothing that like super jumped out at me. I was a little put off by how like different Havoc feels to how he was being portrayed in X-Men, main X-Men an issue or two ago in the first issue of Hellions, but I got over it. Because I get that they're doing a thing. They're very much trying to do what if the Suicide Squad but X-Men. And it works okay, especially because other than Havoc, it's all characters I know nothing about.
Psylocke's there.
But I don't.
You
do
don't
we
know
really
this
know?
Psylocke.
Do we really know that Psylocke? I didn't know
No.
Psylocke before Hickman X-Men. I was just like, yeah, whatever. She's fucking ninja lady. Who cares?
Then you realize the whole big complicated history with the British lady.
Yeah, and now I stand the British lady.
Yeah. Kwawan is good. She's good.
Kwawan is good. I just haven't had a chance to really get to know her yet.
And there's Havoc on the team. I'm trying to remember the big dude, the long-haired big dude.
Fucking I forget his name too, but Wild Child is on the team. What's his face and Nanny are on the team, who are characters.
Maker.
Yeah, I'd never heard of them before, but they were fun.
Orphan Maker. There's the prim fucker narcissist.
Empath,
yeah.
Who he just came off as like everybody's ultimate fear when it comes to telepaths.
Yeah, because ultimately his power just made him able to tell anybody what to do, so he never learned empathy. So dude, he's a complete raging
I just
psycho.
Realized he's a fucking mutant Purple Man.
Oh yeah, no, it's very Purple Man, but it's also like, yeah, this is Purple Man. It's more MCU Netflix Purple Man though.
Mm-hmm. And I love that they immediately pull him aside and go, "Yo, if you fuck with anyone on this team at any time for any reason, we will kill you."
And their mentor character is Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, who is just so blatantly going like, "Yeah, I need a team to take care of shit that I need done. I don't care about whatever I have to do to get it. Just give me whoever can take care of it. Look at all these square pegs you're trying to fit into a round hole on Krakoa. Why don't I take them off your hands? I'm doing you a favor here, Council. Come on. Look how upset Scott is. We don't want to exile Scott's brother. Come on, let me do some shit with Scott's brother. I'm totally above board right now."
It's so much fun because, like, legitimately, that's just the entire run is just Mr. Sinister going, "But what if we do this?" And all of the Hellions going like, "God damn it, Mr. Sinister. Why?" "Because I want stuff and you're gonna get it for me."
I also enjoyed this issue of X-Force because it's basically just, oh yeah, we fucked up putting Jean Grey on this team. Like that end conversation between her and Wolverine in a hot tub, which basically confirms like, yeah, they're full on poly. More than anything we've had before then, because if they weren't full on poly, that would be like, oh, Jean's cheating on Scott. But no, that was a great conversation where she's basically like, yeah, I think I'm just too nice to be doing this. And he's like, yeah, but you were also helping out. He's trying to let her down easy, being like, but you're the moral compass, and every team needs one of those. And she's like, why don't you fucking go get Colossus to do that shit then?
Colossus doesn't want to do anything with anybody because we pissed him off too many times.
The conversation between him and Domino is great too, where she's like, yeah, I chose not to remember that. It's my decision. Fuck off. And he's like, Kid, I spent so long trying to get my memories back. Anybody choosing to forget anything doesn't feel right to me. It's like, legit. Giant-sized Nightcrawler was interesting, but it didn't feel like it was particularly about Nightcrawler. It felt like it was just an excuse to get that mutant character on Krakoa that they find in the old X-Mansion.
I'm trying to remember, who is it?
I don't even remember.
Can you describe what their powers were or what they looked like?
I don't think it was a she. I don't think she used power. She had kind of like a silver metally kind of outfit that really showed off her assets.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm scrolling up to it. Lady Mastermind.
Mm. Oh, that's the daughter of Mastermind.
Who's Mastermind again?
He is a member of the Hellfire Club, and he's basically a brainwasher kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
If you when you continue reading Hellions, you'll see him eventually in the arcade arc.
Okay. Uh, New Mutants was pretty good. I enjoyed seeing the full team finally back together. Boom Boom basically being real sour about not getting to go to space was fun. And then that scene between frickin' Magic and Scott was so great. Just like, hey, you people kind of fucked up some shit. Should I be worried? How about you piss off? Just
Yeah, fair enough.
and uh I hate you for planting the seed, but yeah, I'm getting close with Magic. I'm
I
getting
knew
real
it.
close.
I knew it.
Just there's a fucking panel of her at the beginning of that scene where she's just making a face that set me off for a second. I'll put it that way.
God.
I can't help it. I was born this way, damn it.
You and Vince McMahon have at least one thing in common.
I have a oh oh, why did you have to put it that way? I hate you so much right now. Jesus fucking Christ. I promise I will never hire a blonde female YouTuber and push her to the moon. I swear that on my fucking keyboard right now, because that's the closest object to me.
No, how far are you keeping track of how far away you are from X of Swords?
So let's see. I'm on volume 10 of Dawn of X. How many volumes is it? It's 15 volumes. So I've got 4 more trades to go.
Alrighty. And then you just read the 22 issue epic of X of Swords.
Yeah. Is there a way on the website that we use I can read all of that on one page, or do I have to bounce between all the tie-ins?
I am checking for you real quick.
Okay.
Nope, it looks like you're gonna have to bounce.
Okay. I'll find a reading list.
Yeah. The reading list isn't that hard. It's not hard to keep track of.
Yeah. And that's the last thing I have this week. So why don't you rapid fire off a couple things?
All right, then I'll just rapid fire the rest of them, and then we can wrap up. So Heroes Reborn issue 3. The first part of it is basically what if Flash put Marvel.
Sick.
Legitimately, that's it. It's also like a heightened version of like all the joke stereotypes they do with the Flash. If like, oh, I can't concentrate. Everything's so slow, and I gotta keep moving, and he has like 15 different TVs and 4 different phones, and he's just going super fast all the time.
Not how the fucking Flash works. Shut up.
I know. I'm just saying, like that's the stereotype they're playing into.
Okay. I know. It just makes me mad when people say, fuck Scott Snyder. Can I just say that one more time for the people in the back? Fuck Scott Snyder. Or Zack Snyder. Fuck both Snyders. They're both shitty creators. I said it. I don't like either.
Made the Court of Owls, though.
Court of Owls is way more overhyped than people make it out to be.
Okay. But basically, he's going up against his arch enemy, the Scarlet Speedster, which is basically Scarlet Witch, but she absorbed Quicksilver's powers through when he died, kind of thing. And they basically use magic as like magic is part of their Speed Force kind of thing. Like that's how it's working. So he's running through multiple dimensions and all that kind of stuff, trying to get part of his soul back that Scarlet Witch took. And we flash back to when this Blur dude went to Tibet to talk to the Ancient One to solve his speed powers. And basically, Ancient One was like, fucking sit still for a minute. And he did. And he survived and he did the thing and he saves the day. He sends Scarlet Witch to Ravencroft Mental Institution from Spider-Man's comics.
Cool.
And we end his little mini story with him having a foot race against Eternity.
All right.
Yeah. You know, but it's kind of a take on that classic Superman Flash thing they love to do, that trope. And then we basically get another little side story of continuing the major overarching background, the plot of Heroes Reborn. And we see Bullseye in a mental institution pulling out a tooth in order to throw it at a person and kill them. Going like, I haven't had a weapon in years. What do you think this tooth can do? And it's less like Marvel's Bullseye, and it feels more like who's the serial killer in DC who makes a check mark on his skin?
I know who you're talking about. Zaz?
Yeah, that guy.
Victor
But,
Zaz.
but basically, he kind of has that vibe going on about him. And then he gets bit by a flaming rat and he's like freaking out. And we find this universe's version of the Phoenix Force.
Oh.
And it's imbued in a deaf woman playing piano who's basically trying to figure out what she needs to do with this power because she feels like she needs to do something with the power and she's not sure. And then Blade and Captain America show up and go like, "Hey, this world isn't quite right. You want to help us out?" And like the goddamn face Blade has is just fucking hilarious. Hold on, I'm getting a better version because goddamn. Look at that fucking shit-eating grin.
Hey, kids, you want to go kill some vampires?
Yeah, but that's basically the end of this issues of Heroes Reborn. The next thing I want to talk about is the latest issue of Wolverine. Speaking of vampires, this is kind of culmination of Wolverine's fight against the vampires. He's talking to a vampire hunter he's known, and she's slowly turning into a vampire, and he's trying to help her out, kill Dracula, well, hurt Dracula as much as he can right now, and they have a little fight with another vampire, and basically he gets back to Krakoa, and he finds out that in the X-Force headquarters, Omega Red is there. And Omega Red basically proposes an idea. He doesn't like having to work for Dracula, but he feels like he has to. So he proposes an idea. Make a brand new Logan clone, but edit its genes to give to the vampires so that there's a new gene in the blood that Logan made that is basically bioluminescent that hurts the vampires whenever they ingest it. And it's basically acts as like an illness for them, and that's kind of where it ends. And he takes the vampire hunter lady he's friends with to an alternate dimension, completely controlled by vampires. It's called later the Kingdom of the Salavith, the Realm of Otherworld. And basically, Wolverine goes like, "Hey, these guys are vampires, but they're not like our vampires who hunt and kill people and turn them. No, they're vampires as like a species, and they make new vampires out of this blood pit. So like they're not they look weirder and creepier than the vampires we have on our world, but they're actually nicer and people we can actually hang out with and not worry about them. Because the person controlling them and leading them is Apocalypse's son, Death.
All right.
So this is kind of like, oh, that's neat. That's cool. And basically, oh yeah, no, the mutants are friends with interdimensional vampires now. Radiant Black #4. Me and Buster were freaking out a little bit about this.
I saw. What the fuck's going on?
Okay, so this is the issue where basically Radiant, the guy who's in Radiant Black, is trying to figure out just what exactly is going to be the whole big deal, because he's trying to figure out the powers of the suit, and this internal giant robot thing is going like, hey, me and you are bonded for life. We gotta fight a thing that's coming. All right, are you ready to do this? Are you willing to take the dude's life when he comes? And he's trying to organize his mind. And as he's having a day hanging out with his friend, getting some stuff, getting supplies as they need, the red version of Radiant Black, who's been Robin Banks, comes in and tries to fight the dude. And Radiant Black and him have a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a tear, and eventually they accidentally just start destroying a building. And they both, and like Radiant Black goes like, all right, everybody needs to get out. So he pushes the red guy, the criminal, out of the building and all the other people as best he can, and the building falls down around him. His friend goes to him and goes like, oh my god, please get up. The robot goes like, you have died, we are no longer bonded, I will find another host. The thing that they found in the first issue pops out, the dude grabs it, and the robot goes like, hey, things coming for your planet, we need to stop them, will you take their life? And the dude goes, yeah. And so that's where the issue ends. This whole thing has been a prologue to the actual protagonist of our series.
Fuck, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's dope. It's very interesting, and it's very much like, okay, what's going to happen now kind of feeling. So, like, it's not good or bad. It's just like, it's waiting for the next issue, which is for a comic what you kind of need. Amazing Spider-Man is just kind of a wrap up of the last big arc. It's just kind of like, not necessarily tying up loose ends, but kind of like going like, this is the aftermath of the entire arc. Basically, Robbie and Tombstone are calling a truce while their children are dating. It's just going like, I'm not gonna like you, but I'm not gonna try and kill you. MJ's back in New York, officially, official capacity. Um, Osborn gets fucking ganked by his demon son. Spider-Man goes off the contract for being a Twitch streamer with Jameson, and Jameson just goes like, all right, I'm just gonna make my own hero.
Excuse me?
That's exactly. Well, if that's how he wants to play it, two can play that game. J. Jonah Jameson is gonna get a hero of his own.
All right.
So we're setting that up. All the money that Peter Parker made while working with J. Jonah Jameson doing the Twitch streaming, he gave to Aunt May so she can rebuild the food shelter that she made, the homeless shelter, food shelter thing. We get another panel with Boomerang being really sad in the villain's bar, going like, I should not have done that. We get Spider-Man, and then we get Peter Parker meeting up with his first girlfriend, Betty Brant.
Oh, shit.
Who's pregnant.
Oh, shit.
She's preggers. And then we finally end the series, end the issue with a woman in a jail cell that basically Overdrive is going like, hey, I know you're Mary Jane and you know how to get to Spider-Man. This person's gone. Yeah, I need your help. And she's in this jail cell, and a person goes like, don't waste your breath. It's pointless. There's no escape. And we see Harry Osborn.
Oh, shit.
So a lot of interesting things going up. And the next cover has the Chameleon on it. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I started reading Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I got through the first arc. I dig it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's deal with Children of the Atom because we got issue 3. We get a little bit of their past. They found a spaceship and they went into space and they went into a weird, crazy, merry adventure, and none of their parents know, and it's a secret they're keeping, and it may be related to the powers, it may not be, it may be related to why they can't get to Krakoa, it may not be, who knows. Also, the Lady Gambit and the Lady Cyclops that are on this team are hinted to have a lesbian relationship, and it's kind of cute.
Cool.
Well, it's more hinted at, like, Lady Gambit is crushing hard on Lady Cyclops, and Lady Cyclops is kind of oblivious to it. So that's kind of the vibe it's going, and it's cute, it's interesting. We also get hints that all their mutual friends is back from being sick, and they're trying to ask okay, so how are you back? And they go like, oh well, they edited some of his DNA with mutant stuff in order to like gene therapy, that kind of thing. And they start grilling him about like maybe you could get to Krakoa, and he's like, fuck you guys, you are only here for dinner because you're interested in that. That's lame. I thought you were my friends. Get out. All the while, Lady Gambit is freaking the fuck out on the floor in pain, and we get a final flashback of them landing, getting out of the ship, all safe, all secure, while Lady Gambit is screaming in pain in the corner. Who knows what's going to happen next? All right. So the last thing I want to talk about is Solid Blood, issue number 17 by
Solid Blood
by Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley.
Oh boy.
It's issue number 17. So we have this young woman talking about shit, and we just see a bunch of characters, and like literally it's the middle of an arc. Like the Katana woman from Walking Dead is there, her head squished in from the last issue, and they're calling, oh, the Swordmaster's dead. What? And like it's just continuing and doing all this kind of stuff, and it's just like a full big comic. Like we're just jumped right in the middle of it, and we don't know what's going on. Like there's this whole power set and this lore and this dude who's a necromancer and all this kind of stuff, and we're just going like, what's going on here? And then we get to the letters page, and you start realizing what this is. This is a comic from an alternate dimension. This is a comic from a world where The Walking Dead was not a success, where it got canceled before issue 20.
This is fucking Buckaroo Banzai.
Where after that event, Robert Kirkman got disillusioned with the comic book industry and only came back recently to start this comic with Ryan Ottley, meaning no Invincible. This is a world that does not have Invincible.
This is the most Boingo Core thing I've heard in a while.
And then there's a letter going like, oh, have you heard about the Large Hadron Collider? And CERN, is that why this character's name Collider? I thought it was inspired by Large Hadron Collider. That's really cool, right? How it changed the children's book series without anybody noticing. And then Robert Kirkman's going like, oh yeah, it's kind of like the whole Berenstain Bears. Ton of people remember the Berenstain Bears being called the Berenstain Bears, spelled with an A, when they were little. It gets its name from the. Oh no, that's not the beginning of the phrase. Hi, good for anybody not familiar with the amazing Castro effect conspiracy theory Joshua was referencing. It's basically a pop culture artifacts being evidence of some that are shifting between only subtly parallel worlds. Some believe the cause was a large hadron collider becoming operational in 2008. The most famous example of this is a ton of people who remember the Berenstain Bears being called the Berenstain Bears, spelled with an A, when they were little. It gets its name from the fact that there's a bunch of people on the internet who claim to have distinct memories of Fidel Castro being the prime minister of Cuba well into the 2000s, even though he was assassinated in 1981. This is full-on Grant Morrison bullshit.
Okay.
Like, it's weird. And here's the other thing. Robert Kirkman didn't go like, oh, by the way, this is some weird thing we're playing with. No, he went on social media and went, guys, I found a thing in my attic, and I don't know how it got here.
Oh, fuck
I don't remember
off.
writing this.
Fuck off with that. No. I don't want it. Go away.
Image didn't do any solicitations.
I am done with this conversation.
And
No.
and like, here's the thing. It was just sent as an add-in when because people ordered Robert Kirkman's latest series. If they ordered a certain amount, they also got issues of Solid Blood. So it's just like, what the fuck is this nonsense?
Arkman.
Is this an ARG game? Is this a thing they want to do? Is this a pilot?
I don't want it. I know. No, stupid. No, go away. Too big for normie brain. Bad. No.
This is so much shit, though.
I don't like it. What the fuck is that cover?
Cool, though. Come on. So yeah, that's for the comics I read, and the existential dread it gave Simeon. You okay there, bud?
No.
Hey, just remember what they said in Solid Blood in issue number 2. I'm not going to continue this bit. I'm sorry. Don't give me the one finger salute.
Why? Why are you? How? Why? No, why?
Also, something I just really like is the image logo on the cover I sent you for this made up issue is the old school image logo that they used to do for their old comics.
Okay, that's a nice.
I thought it was cute. It was nice.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
So that existential dread put aside, Zach, do you have any other thoughts that you want to bring out?
YouTube.com/TheVacuuminator. It's spelled TheVacuuminator. Go there, subscribe. I might be doing new shit soon. I gotta go. Kara, you're never gonna guess what this fucker did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals. I'm Chris Boingo Writer. I do video essays and editorial on YouTube. You can find me at Boingo Writer. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Boingo_Writer, and you can join my Discord server. A link to that is in the description. This has been Modular Media No Prize Podcast. If you are on a podcasting platform, make sure to follow us and spread the word. Easy best way to help and support us is to do that. If you're on YouTube, hey, give this video a like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you can get other videos and podcasts such as This Week in Tokusatsu, Modular Components, and Modular Media Wrestling Podcast Live. This has been an episode. Vac is not here, so